watching Numbskull News, and today we got to talk about the Big Ten and the SEC. That's right, all these damn negotiations are going on about the CFP, and it seems like they're trying to take over the whole freaking world. Maybe not. Maybe not. But the Big 12, the ACC, and the Group of Five better have their balls in hand because they're asking for a little much. Now, let's start with this whole format that's come out. It seems like they want their automatic qualifiers, and they're probably going to get them. And the reason being, the most popular thing that I've heard written about time and time again has been the 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 3 at large. So that's three automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten and the SEC, 2 each for the Big 12 and the ACC, 1 for the Group of Five, and of course the 3 at large. Now, why would the Big 12 and the ACC, why would they adhere to this? Well, I understand the temptation. I don't like all these automatic qualifiers. I think it should just be 1 for each of the conference champs, and that's it. Everything else at large. But, I kind of get it a little bit. I kind of understand it a little bit. You don't really trust the playoff committee. So, effectively, all they control is the at-large and whoever gets in from the Group of Five. Everything else will be decided by the play on the field, and that's a good thing. And I understand the Big 12 and the ACC, saying, okay, hey, we get 2 each, cool. So I get the temptation. And let me just throw this out here. There's been a lot of consternation about Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame's going to have to join a conference now. I'm sorry, was that 3 at large? I think it's 3 at large. If Notre Dame ends the season 10-2 or better, that means they're getting in. Will they get a home game? Probably not. I don't know if they really care, as long as there's an option, a way to get in. If you have 3 at larges, well, they're going to get in, like it or not. So I don't know. I don't know how all that'll work. Will there be Notre Dame could say, look, man, if we get in and we, maybe we get a higher seed. If I'm Notre Dame, that's what I'm angling for. That if we're 10-2 and, a second or third place Big 12 team or a third place SEC team that's like 9-3, we should be seated higher than them. That'll be an option. I don't know. But if I'm them, I'm pushing for that. But either way, they have a way into the tournament. So I don't know how. Oh, they'll have to join the Big Ten now. I don't know how true that shit is. But there is some bullshit that's been talked about. For instance, what's been reported is that the Big Ten and the SEC, they want their number 1 teams, their champs, they want them to get a bye week, like an automatic bye week. No one else gets it. Only the Big Ten champ gets it. Only the SEC champ gets it. At some point, the Big 12, the ACC, and the Group of Five, they do have leverage. And I would tell them, hey, you know what? Kiss our ass. You don't get an automatic bye week, sir. You got the big media contracts. You make more than everybody. You got all these blue bloods. You got all kinds of revenue streams at your disposal. And those conferences have always gotten the lion's share of the top recruits in the country. There's a lot of advantages that they enjoy. I'm sorry. Eventually, we're going to cut you off. Like, yeah, it's enough. And I know what you're saying. Well, they'll just break away and do their own thing. I get so tired of hearing that nonsense, that BS. 'Cause that's all it is. There was an article. I wish I had written down who wrote it so I can give him some credit. Uh, it was several days ago, but this art I can't remember what news site it was or any of that crap. I'm sorry. I'm not a professional here. Okay. I mean, look behind me. You got like portraits of like slashers and stuff. You even got a giant sriracha bottle. Where is it? Right here. Right. Kind of hard to make out, but let's just say I'm not a professional, okay? But in this article, it was saying how they were trying to find some type of middle ground here as far as the Big Ten and the SEC. This is why they're still the one spot, the one AQ, the one automatic qualifier for the Group of Five. Well, why would they care about Group of Five access? Because they want to keep lawyers at bay, not just any lawyers. They want to keep the antitrust lawyers at bay. That they're kind of adverse to lawsuits, okay? So, and there'll be plenty of them coming at them. And they know this. And that's just a tip of the iceberg that awaits them if they want to break away. So this shit ain't happening. It's a hollow, empty threat. Always has been, always will be. And look, if they push too much for it, just look, we'll stick with the 12 team exactly the way it is right now for the 2025 and 2024 seasons. And we'll just extend that because that is what ESPN is paying for, that $1.3 billion a year. It's for 12 teams. I mean, it's kind of perfect the way it is. I would like 14 teams. I really would like 16 teams. But if they want to be a punk, then, just say, look, just stick with the model we got right now. I mean, that's always the default right there. Because when you add teams, then ESPN's going to have to finagle a way to get that paid for, like selling games to Fox or whomever. And if they do that, they do that. Who cares? But I think they would prefer it to stay 12 teams. Dare I say, it's almost perfect. Yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC, they're going to have the most teams. They're going to make the most money out of the thing. But they have to earn it. It's just not given to them on a silver platter. And I think that's what's annoying me about those two punk ass conferences is they want everything just handed to them. And I'm kind of like, look, if you earn the most, then you get the most. Okay, no problem. I don't have any problem with that. All those blue bloods earn the right to be blue bloods by winning. And getting a ton of fan support. I got nothing against that. But stop acting like, oh, we have these brands and we are these brands, so we should just automatically get this and that. I just, no. That's gross. Now, if you earn it every year, then you get it every year. I don't have a problem with that. But there should always be a pathway, no matter how small, but a pathway for them to fall on their face one day. That's all I'm saying. Let's don't prop these assholes up so even when they start to suck, they're still going to get taken care of. No. If you fall back to the pack, guess what? You fall back to the pack. And there should always be that option on the table. And the last thing I'll touch on is apparently the big two want to get rid of the NCAA. All right, that's been kind of an ongoing thing everyone's been talking about. Hey, get rid of the NCAA. Just walk away from the NCAA. That's a lot harder to do. It's way easier to say than to do it. They're tied into everything, every sport. And there are Shockingly, more sports than just football. And I know everyone's tired of hearing Kurt Scholl's puke out of his mouth. I'm tired of hearing it. But he does have a point. Why not reform the thing? I mean, the Division One, those Division One conferences have the power to reform and reshape the NCAA. You don't like Charlie Baker? Ask for his job. Get him fired. Get him out of there. Give him the pink slip. You can do that. Install people in there who care about student athletes, who care about getting them properly compensated for their hard work, and people who care about college sports and wants to see it do well. And it's not just about two conferences, because there's a hell of a lot more to college sports than two conferences, believe it or not. Because look, the NCAA doesn't screw up everything. You know, I was sitting here listening to Tim Brando. Great guy. Love Tim Brando. And he's talking about, you know, he's no huge fan of the NCAA either. But subjectively speaking, they do a great job with the NCAA tournament. As a matter of fact, they do a great job with all championships. I mean, the College World Series, the women's NCAA tournament, all your track and field events, things of that nature, you know, your Olympic sports. They do a fantastic, phenomenal job with all of them, except for football. They've been screwing up and dropping the ball when it comes to football. Well, I'm sorry. Don't we have these blue blood teams now all combined into two conferences? Shouldn't they have put their foot down a long time ago? Or did these blue bloods just not want to pay these players either and keep all the money for themselves? Of course they did. Everyone wants to point the finger at the NCAA. I'm pointing it at the University of Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, Michigan, FSU, the Florida Gators. I'm talking to all these bastards. They didn't want revenue sharing. They didn't want these kids making money off of name, image, and likeness. And they damn sure didn't want a wide open transfer portal. That's what they wanted the NCAA to do. All right? That's what they wanted them to do. So they can hoard as many of the highest recruits possible, make it damn near impossible for them to get out of that school once they committed, and then not pay them. Just run them through the meat grinder, and when they're done, you find another one. That's all they cared about. It's not just the NCAA. I know they're the ones that are getting kicked in the junk in the public square right now, but it's all of these schools that were right there with them. And you know what? I can't wait for that House case. I can't wait. Billions, bitch. I hope they all got to pay out the ass. And yeah, they're going to be paying a lot more than your TCUs and your Texas Techs because they got all the money. And it's going to be fabulous. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. But look, guys, take heart. All right. If you're a Big 12 fan, the Big 12 is going to be fine. It just, I'm sorry, we've been through the realignment shit. You know, I every once in a while I still hear from these idiots, you know, oh, you know, we just wait for realignment to come for the Big 12. It's coming for the Big 12. It already came for us, dumbass. And we're stronger now than we've been, good Lord, ever? Possibly ever. And we're going to grow and continue to get stronger and stronger. You know, are we going to be the Big Ten one day? Probably not. Are we going to be the SEC one day? Probably not. What we're going to be is a fun freaking football conference to watch and a dominant powerhouse basketball conference. That's good enough for me. Okay? And as far as those big two, there's only so much they can do. They can piss and they can moan and they can kiss my ass. All right, I don't care if they make more money out of the CFP as long as they get to earn it. Don't just give them everything they want. Big 12, Brett Yormark, Jim Phillips, and all you people at the G5 level. Don't just give in every little thing to them, to every whim they have. And if they threaten to break away, tell them to tear their ass. And by the way, there's going to be a shit ton of lawsuits coming at you. But the Big 12's doing great. We're in a great spot. All right, don't freak. And we're in a better spot than people think. I'm just going to put it out there. We're in a hell of a good spot. In 5-6 years, no one's going to question it. There'll be no more questions about the Big 12. And the CFP thing, it'll work out. The NCAA thing, one more thing about the NCAA. Before I let you guys go and get the hell out of here, one more thing about this NCAA thing and why it's important. Because if you don't have an NCAA, who's in charge? Someone explain to me who's in charge. Is it supposed to be the Big Ten and the SEC? Is it supposed to be the Big Two who's in charge? No. I'm sorry, I don't I don't subscribe to that. The Big 12 should in no way in hell let them be in charge. Because yeah, they got the most money. All right, the most money. And with the most money comes the most power. And with the most power comes what? The most corruption. We've seen it from the federal government for decades upon decades upon decades. The richer America gets, the more corrupt our government gets. Same thing with the Big 12 and the SEC. No. You gotta have a body out there that is completely unbiased. All right, unbiased. It's going to be hard to find something like that. And the NCAA is not perfect. You can clean house, you can clean it up. All right, because it's the best thing you got. Like I said, I don't trust the Big Ten and the SEC in that kind of a role, or having the maximum amount of say as far as that kind of a role. Kiss ass, kick rocks, whatever. No. Anyway, that's all I got on this crap. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.